All right, all right. Alrighty then. We should be live. We should be live for a special Friday stream. We should. Yes, very good indeed. All right. We have a few things to go over, a few topics to get into, a few videos to watch. We have thousands and thousands of people demanding Matt Jeneroux resign after crossing the floor in his riding. We have Nick Shirley investigating voter fraud in California. And then we have a Moose on the Loose video here to wrap up today's short little stream. The politicians currently have the week off, so there's been nothing going on. That's why I haven't been live. Just been posting videos as I can here. Rumble, once again, not wanting to work. So we'll just get right into Rebel news here. Nearly 12,000 in 24 hours demand Matt Jeneroux resign after he crossed from conservative to liberal. What a nightmare. Also, what a liar. Matt Jeneroux, an actual weasel. He claimed he was stepping down from the Conservative Party and leaving because he wanted to spend more time with his family. A couple months go by. In between that time frame, Mark Carney goes to Davos and gives a speech. And roughly after that time frame of the speech in Davos, 3 weeks later, a couple days ago, Matt Jeneroux comes out and he's like, man, that speech nearly a month ago really moved me, and now I want to come back to politics and join the Liberals. And that's exactly what he did. Doesn't make any sense at all. He left because he wanted to spend more time with family. And then there's a bunch of other rumors coming out as well. I'm not going to cover the rumors because I don't know. And there seems to be, once again, the conservative influencer base. They are just ripping each other apart over this stuff. I'm not going to personally dive into all of that. If you're on Twitter, I'm sure you can find it. But at the end of the day, thousands of people want Jeneroux to resign, much like Michael Ma. I think the Michael Ma protests kind of died down. There's not as many people walking around outside of his office anymore. I'm sure he still gets the odd email or probably somebody showing up to his office to complain. But we don't see the massive protests anymore. Are we going to see that with Matt Jeneroux? Alberta is obviously very conservative, but his riding, now that I looked further into it, it's a city. It's like the heart of a city. And the cities are always very liberal, no matter where you are, even in Alberta. So, we'll see.
Yesterday, we launched firemat.com. In less than 24 hours, nearly 12...
Firemat.com. I like it. Just straight to the point.
1,000 people signed the petition demanding that former Conservative MP, now Liberal MP, Matt Jeneroux, resign. 12,000. That's serious and actually very well-deserved backlash to what he did. So we're not slowing down. We're stepping on the gas. The petition stays up. Please sign it. The pressure campaign, though, that's ramping up too. And we're putting more resources into investigating this mess. And frankly, we plan to rough Jeneroux up a little bit, politically speaking, in all sorts of ways. And we're going to need your help to do it. So you can donate at firemat.com as well. Because the more we look at this, the worse it gets. Back in November, Jeneroux said he was resigning his seat for family reasons. He reassured his colleagues he wouldn't cross the floor. But it appears he got enough of his family and wants a little more Mark Carney. And he lied to everyone, including his caucus mates. Now it's 2026. He flies in from his home in British Columbia for the first time this year, not to meet with constituents, not to hold a town hall, not even to explain himself, but to stand inside an airport beside Prime Minister Mark Carney and announce he's joining the Liberals.
So I had announced my resignation back in November, largely due to family reasons, but quite simply couldn't sit on the.
Okay, so I'm gonna go on a bit of a tinfoil hat conspiracy theory here because why not? I think he initially was going to cross the floor, but when Chris D'Entremont crossed the floor, the outrage and backlash was so intense and across the board, like people were pissed off, right? Rightfully so. You voted for this guy to promote conservative values, and then a couple months later, he's like, see you later. Michael Ma does the same thing. The outrage, backlash, rightfully deserved. He saw this with Chris D'Entremont and most likely switched on a dime to just go, I'm just going to resign in the moment. Let the dust settle, let things clear out. Michael Ma eventually does it. Now it gives him more of an opportunity to do it because he sees, well, realistically, people are mad, but it dies down very quickly. People will forgive, but they won't forget. And I'm sure a lot of the constituents in these ridings will not forgive or forget. And when an election comes, you can guarantee a lot of people, it's going to be up in the air whether people actually vote. Because if you vote for a constituent and they just turn their back on you, this has put a damper on a lot of politics in this country now. And people are going to have the mindset of, well, I could vote for this guy, but does my vote mean anything now if he can just, like that, switch over? It's scummy. It's very scummy. And there needs to be a rule. And I get it. Floor crossings have happened for hundreds of years at this point. That's not the point, right? It's very weaselly, very scummy, and there should have been a rule set in stone that it goes directly to a by-election. If you truly believe in what the opposition say, you're conservative and you want to go to liberal, if you believe that the liberals have this amazing, fantastic plan, even though they haven't done anything, and you want to go over there, you need to go to a by-election, have the entire riding vote for you. And like I said, if that's what you believe and that's what the constituents believe there, then so be it. But the truth of the matter is you were put in by people with conservative ideals and values, and you just gave them the finger. One after another at this point has done it as well. I'm currently wondering how many other progressive conservatives are on the fence about jumping over to the liberals, because obviously it's built up of the Reform and the PC party. There's a lot of centrists in the progressive conservative side of things, and I don't know what Mark Carney has done, but for some reason they're switching over. Whether it's a monetary incentive, whether it's, oh, you'll keep your seat, get a fatter pension, I don't know. There's something going on, though. There's obviously something going on behind the scenes that we don't know. But, that being said, Rebel News has made it quite clear that they're not just going to let this one disappear. They're not just going to go, well, he flopped over. Oh my god, it's nearly 18,000 now. Holy crap. This was 16 hours ago. 12,000 signatures. Now it's well on its way to hit 18,000. Oh man. What is going on? I do not know.
Sidelines after seeing what the Prime Minister was ambitious agenda he was undertaking across the country and across the world.
But going back to my original point, I think he was going to cross the floor originally. He saw the outrage and backlash and quickly pivoted to, oh, it's family. It's a family thing. I could be wrong, right? I said it's a tinfoil hat conspiracy, but I think he was going to initially cross and then decided not to because of the outrage. And then he let the dust settle. He saw Michael Ma went over, decided to continue with that original idea. Because bullshit, the speech in Davos was the reason you crossed. A speech from a month ago was the reason you crossed, something that accomplished nothing and was just an elite preaching to a room of elites. It's mind-blowing, right? And that's why there has to be something behind the scenes. There has to be some sort of incentive. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you. I'm just theorizing.
Quite honestly, it was the speech in Davos where you took everything head on, and
Such
I think
bullshit.
for me that's where a lot of the world changed. I think it opened a lot of eyes for Canadians, Albertans, Edmontonians, just how serious this national unity crisis truly is. And it's for me, it felt disingenuine and quite simply wrong to be sitting on the sidelines anymore. So I reached out to the Prime Minister's office, and we'll be joining his caucus, and I couldn't be more proud to do this.
This turncoat didn't even leave the airport, and the reason he gave for flipping to the other side? Well, it was the speech that Mark Carney gave at the World Economic Forum in Davos. Apparently, that was the moment Jeneroux decided only Mark Carney can solve a national unity crisis. You cannot make this stuff up. Because nothing drives alienation faster than politicians who campaign one way, promise one thing, resign.
It's not even that he campaigned one way. He campaigned one way for nearly 2 decades. It was like 16 or 17 years. He was a conservative. Like, what? He was a deep-rooted conservative in Alberta. Like, there's something else going on there, man. It's not a matter of, oh, it was your speech in Davos. Bullshit. Bullshit.
For family reasons, then reappear wearing a different party's colors. If you want to convince Albertans their votes don't matter, even if they vote conservative, this is exactly how you do it. Instead of
Yeah, I mean, the entire country, like I said earlier, going forward, people are going to head into like the next election. It wouldn't shock me if voters are down, like the total amount is down, because people are just flip-flopping whenever they please. Does your vote mean anything when they can do this like that, at the switch? Just like that. There's nothing holding them back. There's no by-election to switch things up or shake up the potential. Give the people an actual chance to have their say again. It's just absolute horse shit. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of horse shit, we have voter fraud, potential, alleged, most likely, voter fraud in California. Nick Shirley back with another banger video.
We're just looking for these individuals as they're registered to vote here. John Thomas and Philip Thomas. Is Gloria here by chance? Because she's 100 years old and she voted last election from here.
Can you see my? I said I want.
I just want to make sure you're not 126 years old.
No, I'm not.
And do you think it's possible, like, illegal
126 years old.
migrants could be voting?
Do you know where the ballots might have gone? Like for 108 people, that were registered here?
When it comes to fraud, most people think about money. However, there's another potential massive fraud story taking place in America, one tied to the most consequential system in our country, which is our voting system. This has to do with everything about who runs the country and how elections are actually controlled. And if we don't have voter integrity, what even are we? And there's one state that is the breeding ground for potential voting fraud, and that is California, where it can take up to 1 month to count all the votes, no voter ID, and millions of ballots are cast by mail. And with voter rolls that are extremely vulnerable to errors, such as over 200 people who are over the age of 125 years old registered to vote in certain areas. And now to see how easy it is to vote, I headed to the location to register to vote inside the state of California. Now this is the register of voters right here. And I want to ask them, why don't you need voter ID to vote here inside of California? I was curious, how come in California you don't need voter ID to vote?
Because when you sign your affidavit, you're swearing that you're telling us the truth, and we compare the signature that you put on your application to the
Battery
signature
65%.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it leaves any room for error with voter ID, or?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm just like curious because I want to make sure that like our elections are as fair and honest as possible, and I feel like voter ID is just something super simple to have. And do you think it's possible like illegal migrants could be voting?
Not really. How? I mean, what's showing their ID?
Yeah, if they don't have their ID and they could just sign on behalf of Richard Sherman, then they could technically vote, right?
They would be lying.
Yeah, but what?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The people are already here illegally, right? Like, aren't they already lying in the first place? I think Nick Shirley just blew this woman's entire world up. She didn't, this thought did not cross her mind at all. But yeah, but they would be lying. No shit. No shit. That's kind of the whole point of fraud. Fraud is lying.
What if they just don't care? What if like Richard Sherman and Billy Bob Joe just don't care? But so you don't think illegals would ever vote, would you?
I don't think so.
No. So instead of showing your ID, you sign your signature and then it is scanned to verify it is you. So technically speaking, anyone could show up saying they are someone, and if the signature is similar, that vote will then count. And with millions of people voting, it leaves room for fraud to occur. Just take these two examples.
A Southern California woman is facing 5 felonies after registering her dog to vote in 2 elections. The dog's vote was even counted in one of those elections. Those behind the stunt.
Bro, what is going on in the US? Like, I get it. Canada is screwed, and it has a ton of issues as well, but yo, you have dogs voting in your election. What the fuck?
Say she did it to
I actually can't. This is cracking me up right now.
show the flaws of the current system.
Hundreds of people who cast votes according to state records, but we found they've been dead for years. Including a woman who died in 1988, and records show she somehow voted in 2014, 26 years after she passed away. Then there's Julita Abutin. Records show she voted in Norwalk in 2014, 2012, 2010, and 2008. The only problem is she's buried here at Forest Lawn. Abutin died in 2006. Is it possible your mother voted in 2014?
There's no way.
Abutin's daughter Maravik says it's certainly impossible that her mother voted, but the LA County Registrar confirms they have signed vote-by-mail envelopes with her mother's name for the 2014 and 2012 election, even though she died 10 years ago.
So it's not some crazy conspiracy theory to think that people are illegally voting inside the state of California. And with the state receiving millions of illegal migrants, the opportunities for fraud now are even higher as millions of undocumented people are living inside of the state. Now let's go meet up with a man by the name of Urson who has dedicated years of his life digging through voter rolls, finding fraud and inconsistencies throughout the state. So how bad is the voter fraud?
All right, so very quickly before we get into that, it appears that I guess attacks could be imminent. Let's see here. Developing news with Iran. Trump amends Iran deal timeline as attack could come at any moment. This was 3 hours ago. This video went up, and then another one went up just about an hour ago, talking about some more Iran stuff. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it's quite obvious things are kicking off to the extreme.
The president is extending his timeline for Iran to make a deal from 10 to 15 days. That still puts it in line with the 2-week time frame that Iran had given to address the gaps after the second round of indirect talks with the U.S. earlier this week.
What is the goal if there is a U.S. military strike?
Well, we're going to make a deal, or we're going to get a deal one way or the other.
But with a military strike, is it to wipe out their nuclear program?
I'm not going to talk to you about that, but we're either going to get a deal or it's going to be unfortunate for them.
And you said today 10 days. Have you given them a deadline firm to make a deal?
I would think that would be enough time, 10, 15 days, pretty much maximum.
The talks focus largely on Iran's nuclear program, but the U.S. also wants Iran to give up its long-range ballistic missiles. And Iranian officials maintain their ballistic missile program is not up for negotiation. The Wall Street Journal now reporting the president is weighing a limited strike to pressure Iran to make concessions. The outlet reports, per People Familiar, the opening assault, which, if authorized, could come within days, would target a few military or government sites. People familiar with the matter said. If Iran still refused to comply with Trump's directive to end its nuclear enrichment, the U.S. would respond with a broad campaign against regime facilities, potentially aimed at toppling the Tehran regime. Russia is urging restraint. A spokesperson for the Kremlin says Russia continues to develop relations with Iran, and in doing so, we call on our Iranian friends and all parties in the region to exercise restraint and caution, and we urge them to prioritize political and diplomatic means in resolving any problems.
All right, so I guess we'll see what happens in the next 15 days or so. Hopefully nothing too crazy. My God.
Here in California.
Well, we actually don't know because law enforcement isn't really investigating it, and we don't have people qualified to actually figure that out.
And what kind of fraud is taking place?
Well, we have voter rolls of about 22 to 23 million people in California, and we have just in Orange County, per se, there's 60 to 70,000 changes a month that happens. So the amount of time and effort to go and follow up with every one of those, we just don't have the resources to do that.
And so what information have you been collecting about the voting fraud here in California?
We have people that are still in our rolls from 2008 that are still getting ballots mailed to them that haven't voted in 18, 16 years.
And so if they haven't voted, what's the problem with them receiving those ballots?
Well, sometimes there's votes that happen later on with someone that hasn't lived here for 12 years. And we found several occurrences of that. When we turn that in, those are treated as independent incidences that don't affect the outcome of the election. So they're highly disregarded from our concerns as voters.
And what information do we have right here?
Well, we got several different pieces that we're looking at today. One thing that's just a simple anomaly for people to understand is there's people that show to be 125 years old in our voter rolls. And that's a simple data flaw, but the issue is it keeps happening over and over again to the tune of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds in every county. That's a large size like where we're at today. Another one is we have a lot of voters that are at central locations, 10, 12, 15 people at a place where what is this business? What is it doing? These people are still going to continue to get ballots. Another one is like a lot of the sororities and the dorm houses, where we have typical turnout, or voter turnout is like in the 50 to 70% range, but it's like 106 out of 108 votes cast. So it doesn't mean that that's fraud, but it means these are out of the normal order of what happens. And so that's what we're going to be going around and looking at today and seeing what's out there and what we can find. We have a system where you can register to vote in California without a driver's license number or social security number. Why do we allow that? That creates 9.6 million records that then the state has to send to the Social Security Administration. And when 75% of those come back with no matching Social Security record, it should make every California wonder, why do we have a system like that? Why do we have a system that's creating work and uncertainty?
And so what have you done to get this information about the voter fraud that's taking place here in California?
Well, we get our information from the Secretary of State. We get it directly from them. It's a lot of information and it's very complex. And so we get this from the state, we package it up, and we help with our other researchers across the state that go and break it down into their own counties.
So we have all this information, and now we're going to go head out into the streets of California and see what fraud we can find. Where's the first place we're going?
We're going to the local retirement community, and the reason this one is just kind of particularly odd, you got 45 people registered, and 41 of them actually turned out to vote in the last election. So that's just, again, not typical for 55 to 70% turnout. So it's a mental crisis senior rehabilitation center. So we're just going to go there and see, is there 45 people there? Is there beds? And check it out. Can we speak to a supervisor?
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, it looks like there was maybe 41 of 45 people that are registered here. Does that seem low or high to you? Like as far as how many patients or residents you have?
That's probably not accurate anymore.
So that lady right there said that that's probably not accurate.
Right.
So this could be a huge location where hundreds of votes could be casted from this one location. She said that numbers sound like they're inaccurate, 41 out of 45.
Correct. So is there a lot more people that could be registered to vote and could be having their voices expressed?
Well, let's move on to the next location.
You got it.
Now we're here in the University of San Diego because they got lots of voters here, but what's the deal with this location?
It's some sort of institute for peace and justice, so it doesn't seem like you'd have a lot of voters like registered at some sort of an administrative office, but it very well could be. You know, I mean, there's students that are all over the place here, so maybe it's some sort of a central mailing house or something like that.
You have a conference room, you have Garden of the Sky, the Kroc School, classrooms, conference rooms, anything but dorms. And this is the location where 58 people are registered to vote here inside of the state of California.
Is this like a central mailing location, like this building for students and stuff?
No, this one is not. So we do have a mail center.
Because right here on the John B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice, it says we had 58 registered to vote, and 50 people voted from this location.
So is 5998 Alcala Park? You're saying
is the entire university.
Is the entire university. So where do the ballots go?
I have no clue.
Okay.
I've never seen them.
So far, we're 0 for 2 as far as getting any clarity about where these votes are being cast from here.
Yeah, or any sort of real clarity.
And at these locations, when there's only around 40 to 50 people registered to vote, in locations where there's hundreds and thousands of people, it leaves lots of room for speculations, especially when nobody actually knows what the real count is and where the votes are being casted from. And just a reminder, all this information from Urson is the most up-to-date information from the Secretary of State of California as far as the voter rolls go. The fraud continues. Now we're outside of a extra space, a storage unit location. Here, 5 people are registered to vote.
Correct.
Did they cast their votes?
3 of them did in the 24 election, then we had 1 that cast a ballot in the 2020 election and 1 that's never voted. The point is that unless this is a primary residence, right, or where you can sleep, right, which no one's supposed to by law allowed to sleep in their public storage unit, then this is not a legal registration. And these are the things that the county continues to let slip through the cracks.
Let's see if they're here. We have the names of all 5 people. Let's see if they're here. How's it going, sir? Good. We're just looking for a few people here. We have Lily Morey, Philip Thomas, Sydney Thomas, Robert Thomas. We're just looking for these individuals as they're registered to vote here.
Do you have people that live here at Extra Space?
Are you Robert Thomas?
Oh, okay. Okay, so who gave you this list real quick?
Oh, from the Secretary of State.
Yeah, it's publicly available information.
What about Robert, Sydney, Philip, and Lily Thomas? What about them? Do they also get their ballots here?
Who?
Robert Thomas, Sydney Thomas, John Thomas, and Philip Thomas. Do you know where any of those individuals are? Any of the Thomases?
No, they're not here right now.
There's no one living in storage facilities, right? That's
No,
really
right?
the question.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. This guy looks high out of his mind. Like, he doesn't even know what's going on. Okay? He asked if he was a certain person, hey, is this your name? And he just looked, huh? Who? Buddy, this guy, he's either really good at not getting involved in bullshitting, or he's fried out of his mind right now.
Here. Robert Thomas, Sydney Thomas, John Thomas, and Philip Thomas. Do you know where any of those individuals are? Any of the Thomases?
No, they're not here right now.
There's no one living in storage facilities, right? That's
No,
really
right?
the question, right? Just wondering if people are actually living in storage facilities or not.
So 5 people are registered to vote here. They can
I mean, it's California, so most of the people there are stoned.
confirm that nobody lives here. A little fishy. California's got some weird things going on. So 5 people, and they didn't know where any of the Thomases were, but this is their primary location.
Well, if those 2 people actually live here and this is where they stay, their primary residence, right? They get their driver's license here, their tax stuff comes here, it's completely legal. But the other people that are here that they didn't know or do know or so forth, right? Are they someone that was just getting something in a storage facility? So.
But this is a storage facility. There's no apartments here.
No.
Nobody's living here.
Not inside the storage facilities. But if the couple that we spoke to is actually, this is their primary residence, that would be legal under state law.
But for these 5 people that are registered and that cast their votes.
And if it's not them, then no, those are not legal.
Those are illegal votes. And so that right there is 5 potentially fraudulent votes in one location inside of a storage unit. This is super important to understand before we go to the next location. In California, when you register to vote, you must put your domicile location, which is your primary residency. You can then put a different address to receive your...
Well, it wouldn't shock me if people are actually living in the storage units because, like, that's a thing people do. Believe it or not, it's against the law and you're not actually supposed to. But people will rent out storage units to store stuff, and then they'll set up like beds and stuff behind a sheet and all that. I've seen videos of it. I've seen people like promoting it online. So I wouldn't recommend it. I'm not promoting it. For the love of God, do not do that. If you get caught, you're probably cooked, and you have all your belongings out on the street. Like, no, just don't do that. Don't live in a storage unit. But people are doing it. So it wouldn't shock me if they're putting that as their home address.
Your mail, but for it to be on the voter registration form and for the voter rolls, it must be your domicile address, your primary address. Now we're going to start going to some of these locations where people have put their primary addresses as P.O. boxes. In locations like the one we're about to go to, over 30 people are...
Also, once again, it's California, so there's a large, very large homeless population there. So the idea of people pooling money together to buy storage units to live in, that's really not a far stretch.
Register to vote at this one UPS store. With this fraud, a lot of these people register to vote have their primary residency at a UPS store or a United States Postal Service location. Right here, we have over 30 people who are registered to vote, and all these people right here, there's over 30 of them, are registered to vote, and this is their location, and a large majority of them actually voted in the 2024 election against Trump and Joe Biden. And right here we have Gloria. Gloria voted in the last election. She's 100 years old.
Yeah, born in 1925, still kicking.
What do you think about over 30 people are registered to vote in this UPS store right here? Is that a little strange to you?
Is it through P.O. boxes?
Yeah.
I don't know. What are you trying to do, or what are you trying to prove?
Yeah, so
so you have to be registered where you live, right? Where your primary residence is. And so if you've got a primary residence that's a UPS store, there's a real tiny houses, inside the UPS store for people to live in.
Probably. What's your guys' affiliation?
My name's
We're just
Nick
citizens.
Shirley.
Yeah.
Could you live inside a P.O. box?
No.
So do you think it's a little strange that here in California you have lots of people who are registered to vote from these P.O. boxes, meanwhile you don't even have to show your ID when you go and vote?
I don't want to be part of the whole MAGA storyline. Thank you.
This isn't a MAGA storyline, man. This is just the straight up facts. Now we're going in. How are you guys doing? Yeah.
You're not allowed to be here. Can you step outside?
Could we talk to somebody?
No. Can you step
This is super important.
Yeah, can you step outside?
It has to do with our elections here, ma'am.
Okay, outside.
Can someone come and talk to us?
Is Gloria here by chance? Because she's 100 years old and she voted last election from here. All right, so they won't even speak to us. Do you know Gloria? She's 100 years old. She voted last election here. She's supposed to live in one of these P.O. boxes.
What? No, I have no idea.
A little strange, right? Sir, have you ever met like a Gloria or anything? She's supposed to live in one of these P.O. boxes. She voted.
No.
No. No idea. And another thing that's super concerning about all this fraud taking place is right now the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, is also leading the way on Polymarket as to who's going to be the Democrat nominee in 2028. What do you think it says about states that don't require people to have voter ID?
It's like inconsistent, so people can kind of like tweak it however they want. So I don't know, I don't trust it. That's why.
Should states require people to show voter ID when they go and vote?
100%. Like I think like people should be verified that that's them voting and that's like them as a person. Like that needs to be like a face-to-face action. If they can't, there needs to be another way of it.
I'm surprised he actually got somebody to agree with him out in California, because most of them would have been like that woman before. I don't want to be a part of the MAGA movement, even though it's literally just, we want to make sure our elections are in order. That's not really a MAGA movement thing. It's just, government procedure, but whatever.
Verification.
And what makes you think that way? A lot of people don't think that way about voter ID.
I don't know. I think it's just like a common sense thing. Like it should be you that's voting and like your vote that's going through. So it's not just like anybody.
Do you think people would pass you off for Ralph Salcido if you just said you're Ralph Salcido?
No. Like if I said that to me, they'd be like, really? If I walked up and like I said, oh yeah, I'm 100 years old, they'd be like, what? you can't like fake age. So
This building here in downtown San Diego, there's over 16 people who are registered to vote at this address right here. It wouldn't surprise you if inside of this building alone, there's 15 people registered to vote, yet all the windows are boarded up.
Oh, one of the business was ducats, and I never saw anybody go in or out of there.
15 people are registered to vote, and a lot of them voted in the 2024 election.
Doesn't surprise me. This is California for a reason.
Do you think voter fraud takes place here in California?
100%.
And do you trust Gavin Newsom?
No. No, not at all. You could tell by the way he talks. He never wants to answer a real question. Let's see, he calls ICE, basically calls them out, calls them terrorists. In some ways, I kind of hope he runs for president. That means someone else is going to get governor, and if he doesn't make it as president, his political career is done. I don't see him winning. I really don't.
Right now in Polymarket, he's leading for the Democrats as far as who's going to be the next nominee.
Yeah, Kamala was leading. Look how that went.
Do you think California should require voter ID?
Do I think that voters should require voter ID?
Yes.
No.
Why not?
Why?
How come you need an ID when you go to the airport?
I don't know why you got to do that either.
So do you think it's possible to have fair elections here in the United States if people don't prove who they actually are by giving their ID when they go and vote?
That's too. I can't even answer that. Cause I'm like this.
This guy doesn't even know what's going on, Nick. You got to move on to somebody else. This guy, he's fried out of his mind as well. He's got 2 cheeseburgers in his hand. Like, he's not thinking about voter fraud. He's thinking about going home and probably smoking more weed and eating those cheeseburgers.
That either.
So do you think it's possible to have fair elections here in the United States if people don't prove who they actually are by giving their ID when they go and vote?
That's too. I can't even answer that. Cause I'm like this. If you here, you can vote. It's just too much paperwork.
Too much paperwork.
Yeah, too much bureaucracy, too much stuff. It's just too much.
So when you go vote, you don't want to show your ID?
Nah. Heck nah, for what?
To prove that you are you.
I mean, I'm me anyway. I'm me anyway.
So no ID?
Nah. Mm-mm.
What if I wanted to vote on behalf of your name?
Why would you want to do that? Tell me why I want to do that, and then I can make a decision.
What if I wanted you to vote Democrat and you're a Republican?
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, yeah, that's a point. But I still ain't approving of it.
We headed to the next location, and it was the exact same thing where tons...
What is going on here, dude? This is why this shit happens. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Everybody just wants to get ripped and eat chicken fingers and burgers. I have no idea what's going on in California, man. That place is an absolute shit show. California, Vancouver, aka or BC, aka Northern California, as I like to call it, because realistically it's all the same. That entire stretch, it just gets colder. That's really the only difference.
Tons of people were registered to receive votes from a P.O. box. So we were wondering, do these people live here?
I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't
Like, are they living inside the post office?
This is the address of the post office, right?
Yeah.
This isn't like their mailing address. That's like their actual like registration address. Do you see ballots that have like P.O. box on them and things?
Yeah.
And it's not a problem if someone...
So, the only thing I can think of when they're going to like the mail centers or the P.O. boxes, it's either fraud or the people are just really dumb, and when they put down the address for what is supposed to be their home, they put down, I guess, like a P.O. box or a mail place that will send, because there is mail-in voting. I'm just trying to, like, figure this one out, because no, they're obviously not living in the fucking P.O. boxes, right? Like, we need to put the joke, put the joke aside here. But I don't know. I actually don't know. Maybe it's just people being stupid or it's legitimate fraud. There's only 2 explanations for that one.
Someone is registered here to receive their ballot, but if this is their primary residence, that is a problem. And that's what the case is for all these people right here.
And it's an illegal registration based on state law.
Because this leaves a lot of legal...
Well, if that's the state law, then yeah, there you go. It would be fraud then. And it's just flat, plain and simple at that point.
Ways for people to vote fraudulently, whether it be ballot.
But it wouldn't shock me, right? We're dealing with people in California. They're not the brightest individuals. So it wouldn't shock me if they accidentally put their address down as the post office, not knowing or understanding what they're doing. Like, just think of the guy before with the chicken fingers and the burgers or whatever the hell he had in his hand. He didn't know what the hell was going on. He didn't even know how to answer a basic ass question.
Harvesting, or them just voting on behalf of somebody else.
And that's the thing that we have the greatest concern, right? 23 million ballots go through some process. This is one post office in one city, in one county, in our entire state, right? So it just has an exponential impact when you add up all the little small things that are going on.
As you can see, there's a lot of issues with these voting rolls and a lot of inconsistencies. And one of these inconsistencies is people over the age of 100 years old that are eligible to vote. For instance, there's a lot of people over the age of 100.
That one makes no sense. Like, yeah, there's people over the age of 100, but like 125, 24, 23. Come on now. We gotta get real here.
125. And in this video, we just filmed around a 15-mile radius, so imagine what it's like all across the state of California. And now let's go see if there's actually 126-year-olds voting in California. Are you Doris?
She's right here. Yes.
Hello, Doris.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
We're just going through the voting rolls here, and we're just confirming anybody who's above the age of 100 years old. And right here it says you're 126 years old.
No, you got the wrong house. That's a lie.
Are you Doris Wood?
Yeah, but you got the wrong house. I'm Doris Wood, but you got the wrong place. That's the wrong information, all that stuff. No, that's wrong.
Oh, here, I can show you if you like.
No, it's just that it's wrong.
How come you think here in California they're just messing up on all these voting rolls here?
I don't know, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it says you voted in 51 elections, Doris.
No, not me.
Really?
I'm not no 100-some years old.
I know.
I said I wasn't.
I just want to make sure you're not 126 years old.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, it really does say you're 126 years old here.
No.
Says,
who did this be 126? That don't even make sense.
I know, that's what the Secretary of State says.
Well, the Secretary of State is wrong.
Okay, well.
Put it like this, I was born in 1940, so you figure that out.
All right, Doris. You have a good evening. All right, so this lady's named Virginia. She's 125 years old. She's voted over 55 times, and she's active on the voter rolls here in California. Let's see if she's home. Hi, how's it going, sir? Doing good?
No, I'm cooking.
Okay, well, I'll be quick. I'm just looking for Virginia, 125 years old.
125 years old?
Yeah, she's registered to vote at this location right here. Is Virginia here?
Yeah, but she ain't no 125 years old.
Really? How old is Virginia then?
80.
80? Well, here on the state of California, she's 125 years old. And she's voted in 55 elections.
Nope.
Is there another Virginia?
No, not here.
Virginia?
10-4. It's only one in the whole world.
Only one in the whole world? Well, I hope she's voting good, because... So she's not 125?
No.
No. Well, is Virginia doing good at least?
So. Well, she's a year younger than me, and I'm 82.
Say, go tell Newsom she ain't 125, she 81.
Okay.
Awesome, you do that. Have a good one. Do you see what the problem is? Every location we went to inside this video, there's something wrong.
That's wild. People, they don't even know what's going on, so people take the IDs or the names of others and they sign them up as 125-year-olds. That's wild. I don't know what else to say about that one. There's obviously some serious fraud going on in the United States, and Nick Shirley's just uncovering all of it. Moving on, though, Moose on the Loose video, then that will be the end of the stream.
The government of Canada, and I advise the people of Canada, do not take the bait.
Is Kuzma getting ripped up? Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, that's talk of the town here. Is this more fear-mongering, or is there any teeth to this? Donald Trump came out once again, swinging against Canada, saying America is getting ripped off. Is he negotiating, or is he working with Carney?
Here we go. Trump, 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 Trump. If you haven't got enough of it, we got more of it.
to tank Canada's economy. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we got this from Canada Proud. A federal judge has ruled that the CBC is entitled to hide the amount it spends on advertising from the public because disclosure could result in public interference and pressure to modify its spending. This is once again more censorship, dishonest media by the CBC. This was reported by Blacklock's reporter. And it's no surprise that CBC does this. Looking at the article here, it says senior managers at the CBC were getting paid $14.9 million in yearly bonuses and billing $1,000 a night for five-star Paris hotel and $497,000 a year for the CEO. They're just as wasteful as the Liberals. Moving ahead, we've got Mark Carney in some hot water here. So I showed it in the previous video, his $1,775 per plate dinner in Vancouver, his fundraiser. Well, it says here Liberal Party decision to hold the closed-door fundraisers under Prime Minister Mark Carney's leadership is being scrutinized by experts in political ethics, with one calling the move a step back. Carney is attending a Liberal fundraiser at a private residence Vancouver Wednesday night, $1,775. The event is not open to the media. Of course it's not. Mark Carney, the guy who said he's going to bring in all this transparency, has done the opposite. He just locked a whole bunch of the Pokey Poke records for 15 years. They've shut down investigation into digging up the dirt and finding if there's anything in there. Then British Columbia. Carney's the exact opposite of a transparent government. Moving ahead, we've got NDP debate going on. This is just a clown college here. We'll briefly touch on this. So we've got Farmer Joe here, Heather McPherson, who was the front runner, not so much anymore, Avi Lewis, Tanil Johnston, whose claim to fame is she's the first Indigenous woman to run. This is what she's putting out as her advantage. Not talking about business experience or this, that, or the other, and then Rob Ashton, the union guy. And basically we have found out that Avi Lewis has raised over $700,000 and Heather McPherson is the next closest at $300,000. So he's raised the most amount of money. He's become the front runner. With that said, we're only going to look at one segment here. Listen to this.
Our campaign has put forward the essential role of public ownership to double down on the things that make Canada Canada, not just our healthcare system, investing in the care economy where more than 3 million people, mostly women, work in long-term care, in childcare, in healthcare and education, a public option for groceries, cell phones, internet connection, a public bank through Canada Post and postal banking. These are measures emphasizing the responsibility of the government to step up and govern and use our public resources in the public interest. Not everybody on this stage is willing to go there, but that's the only way that Canada can build a Trump-proof economy.
A Trump-proof economy. He wants to have the government start a grocery store, a bank, government-owned cell phone company, government-owned internet. This guy is insane, but he is on brand. The socialist agenda's got to go. This is their best. This is their absolute best. Now with that, we've got this breaking news here. This just sums up the NDP leadership debate. What did they have? It looks like a fight almost broke out in the hallway because they didn't allow Yves Engler to be a part of the debate. It says rejected candidate Yves Engler and some supporters moments ago. Now security telling them police have been called. This is also on brand for the NDP. These people are crazy. There's no short supply of them either. I mean, look at this. This goes on and on. Yeah, these people will never govern the country, ever, ever.
What the fuck did I just come back to? I leave for like a minute, maybe a little. Is this the NDP debate? I'm sorry, I gotta go back. I was watching a bit of it on my phone while I was gone, but I couldn't pay full attention.
A public bank through Canada Post and postal banking. These are measures emphasizing the responsibility of the government to step up and govern and use our public resources in the public interest. Not everybody on this stage is willing to go there, but that's the only way that Canada can build a Trump-proof economy.
A Trump-proof economy. He wants to have the government start a grocery store, a bank, government-owned cell phone company, government-owned internet. This guy is insane, but he is on brand. The socialist agenda's got to go. This is their best. This is their absolute best. Now with that, we've got this breaking news here. This just sums up the NDP leadership debate. What did they have? It looks like a fight almost broke out in the hallway because they didn't allow Yves Engler to be a part of the debate. It says rejected candidate Yves Engler and some supporters moments ago. Now security telling them police have been called. This is also on brand for the NDP.
Party! No Democracy Party! No Democracy Party! No Democracy Party! Red members decide!
These people are crazy. There's no short supply of them either. I mean, look at this. It just goes on and on.
What the fuck, man? Oh, why? Like this stuff you'll never see on mainstream media. They won't ever talk about this. Whenever you see a member of the NDP, a representative, a former NDP, anything, NDP strategist, NDP columni, blah blah, just think of this right here. Just think.
These people are crazy. There's no short supply of them either. I mean, look at this. It just goes on and on.
Why have we let the insane asylum into Parliament? What is going on here? This looks like Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, these people will never govern the country, ever, ever.
You support war!
Oh, you can't get him. He's standing on a chair. Okay, I think we've had enough of that. Oh, there's another video of them here. It's funny because there's so few of them too, because there's just no NDP supporters. We got this one here from the Globe and Mail. It says, what do you do when you're living next door to a fascist state? This is unbelievable, the crap they're pushing on Globe and Mail here. America's not a fascist state. All this anti-American rhetoric they're putting out here is so dangerous. There's so many businesses and families and companies that are tied together across the border that has built this relationship over the past 250 years. Just because Donald Trump is bringing in tariffs shouldn't destroy everything that has been built up. This relationship is more than just Donald Trump. He'll be gone in 3 years. Is it worth it to destroy all of that? This is ridiculous. Obviously, they're just helping the liberals.
This is TDS at its finest. When I say, like, people... When I do the Trump, when I do that, it's because it's the only thing the mainstream media talks about, and it's just repetition. It's very basic repetition. Trump evil, Trump evil, Trump evil. And they just repeat it. And people are so worked up now to the point where things that don't even relate to Trump. They literally, the shooting that happened at that school in BC, they were finding a way to relate that to Donald Trump, and it had nothing, literally nothing to do with the United States at all. Not even, like, there's not actually one thing you could say that would tie that to the US. And they were still trying to do it. They have built this narrative up about the man, and people just drink it up and they get triggered. It's crazy. The orange man lives rent-free in so many people's heads. It really is sad. It's very sad. Man, I feel bad for these people that believe this shit. Like, they flat out believe that we live beside a fascist state.
Thing that has been built up. This relationship is more than just Donald Trump. He'll be gone in 3 years. Is it worth it to destroy all of that? This is ridiculous. Obviously, they're just helping the liberals try to get a majority government. The media has no soul. They'll sell their soul to anyone for a few bucks. Got Juno News posting this. We've got Dominic LeBlanc being asked in Mexico whether Canada has discussed a contingency plan with Mexico if Donald Trump rips up the Kuzma agreement. Is there a separate agreement that Canada would have with Mexico?
Has Canada also discussed any contingency planning with Mexico in case the U.S. formally seeks bilateral arrangements?
No, we haven't.
That's unbelievable. Considering the situation, these guys have no plan? Are they kidding? What are they doing? What do they do all day? They should have a plan. It should already be done. They should have a contingency plan. They should have 3 plans. One where Kuzma goes forward, another where there's bilateral agreements with one with America and one with Mexico, and another plan where if we can't get a deal with America or we can't get a deal with Mexico. These guys are completely useless. How do these incompetent people get reelected? People voted for them. I don't know why, but they did. Brilliant. Informing the U.S. what a bunch of turnips our team is. Yeah, I mean, this just gives America more power in these negotiations. And well, maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want this ripped up. They want this scary situation of Kuzma getting ripped up and the big scary Donald Trump. And oh no, elbows up, we have to fight back. This is unfolding all, unfortunately, predictably, isn't it? And with that, we've got this one here. It says 2 Canadian officials involved in the U.S. trade discussions who spoke anonymously to frankly convey their impressions of the state of the talks said expectations in Ottawa for a full renewal of the Kuzma were very low. Mr. Carney's team said even questions whether it would trust any fresh trade agreements with Mr. Trump. The Canadian government said it is preparing for a long, bumpy, dramatic talks with a hostile U.S. administration and even for a breakup of the USMCA. Mr. Trump repeatedly said last year that he wanted Canada to become 51st state, yada yada. You just gotta wonder, are they all just doing this together? Both sides lose here, but really it's Canadians are the ones losing in this. Mark Carney invested 91% in America. He's not fighting for us. And the elbows up fools, they're getting completely duped and they don't even know it.
And not only China, other countries too. People from other countries like Canada and others, they sue us. Canada has ripped us off for years. Not anymore, they're not. And I'm waiting for a decision from the Supreme Court. Can you imagine? We have to wait.
That's just it. Donald Trump waiting for a decision from the Supreme Court because that affects everything with the tariffs.
And that we're waiting for that right now, I believe. I believe that is still currently at play. Let's see.
President Trump yet. He hasn't posted on his Truth Social.
Trump.
Caitlin Collins reported that, of CNN reported, Caitlin Collins of CNN reported that Trump said that, which I guess this ruling came out while Trump was having a White House breakfast with governors this morning, and Trump called the ruling a disgrace. Trump said the ruling was a disgrace, according to CNN's Caitlin Collins. Yesterday, you know, it's interesting. Yesterday, we were watching Trump. We were covering it here. Trump was speaking in Georgia yesterday, and he did seem. He got like it seemed like the most upset I saw him during his speech yesterday was. He started talking about how the Supreme Court hadn't ruled yet, and he was clearly upset that they hadn't ruled yet. And he was like, he seemed to be kind of impatient for them to rule on this. Well, they did rule today, and they said that the Trump tariffs are illegal. So we'll see what Trump has to say. I don't know if he's going to speak on this today or what's going to happen. So we're going to bring you live coverage here. We're going to take your comments on the air. What I need.
All right, well, you can go do that because we're heading back over here.
In negotiations with Kuzma, and they need to get on with that sooner than later. Donald Trump saying Canada's riffing off America. Is he just priming here, getting ready for Kuzma renegotiations? Seems like it. The question remains, has Canada dealt unfairly with U.S. trade, or has USA been disadvantaged by one-side agreements in the last they are looking to rectify? That is the only question I have. The rest is only noise from him and us. I mean, when it comes down to it,
this is going to be the talk of the town for the next, my God, probably month. It feels like this is not going to go away anytime soon. And realistically, it is a big thing. This is massive. So if this negotiation goes sideways, which it probably will, because our MPs, the Liberal government, are just shooting themselves in the foot on purpose to stick it to the orange man bad, as they claim. TDS runs high in this country. I really don't want to listen to a bunch of liberals on the CBC.
He needs time too, doesn't he?
Of course he does. And anytime anybody comes up with a 10-year strategy, I always ask the question, are you going to be here in 10 years to put a check mark on whether or not you delivered on this? Because very few of them are around for 10 years.
But that's been the problem, hasn't it? Like I talk to businesses every day, and they have lamented.
It is the problem, and in a way, it's a problem with the modern electorate in that we do not any longer in Canada, it seems, elect governments who bring in an agenda that's generational.
Right, it's long-term policies.
We look at the electoral horizon. Politicians do this because they don't always want to tell us the truth. I would like to hear more from Mark Carney on the fact that this is going to be difficult. If this plays out the way we fear it's going to play out, It's going to be some very, very difficult years.
He talks about sacrifice.
He's talked about it, but I want to know what that means.
Well, and
what
that's
does
just
that
it.
mean?
We sort of skate by it. And it feels like something we should probably talk a little bit more about.
He's only mentioned the word sacrifice maybe twice. Once was at that Toronto University speech, and there was one other time there. But yes, we should be asking, what does that mean? Because Carney's plan here, he says that generational investments, but as Rob pointed out, is he going to be around in 10 years? No, because all his Brookfield stuff, his carried interest on his Brookfield Global Transition Fund 1 completes in a couple of years. And his stock options for Brookfield are done in 2033 and 2034. So he's already well out by that point. He doesn't want to be prime minister the whole time. He just wants to cash in and get out. So in reality here, he's pushing his net zero agenda on us, but he doesn't want to stay here to show it crash and burn. He just wants to sell it to us now so he gets rich in the short term. He's a short-term prime minister.
Because there's a million ways between now and July and the renewal of the Kuzma process kicks in, that things could go sideways and south, that, the talk of a 1-seat majority or a, 2-seat minority become pretty trivial, don't they?
Canadians are getting duped here. I mean, they're running scared.
Absolutely wild. The Kuzma negotiations are going to be a nightmare. This is literally just the CTV panel that I watched yesterday.
We can do as a country to increase our leverage when we're in negotiations. Thank goodness Stephen Harper concluded a trade deal with the European Union in the dying days of his government, because I think that's to our benefit. And I know Mark Carney is pursuing a similar
praising Stephen Harper for doing good things, because Stephen Harper was what you would call a good prime minister. Holy Christ. That's actually shocking that you see people on the CTV praising conservatives. Anyway, that is going to do it for today's live stream. Thank you all for joining. Hopefully you enjoyed and have a great rest of your day or night, depending on where you are from. Thank you for watching on YouTube, Rumble and Kick. Adios, everybody.
Attachments, which is all good, and find the things that are in our favor, with the fact that 75% of our trade is with